So why do democracies fail? Well, democracies fail because people have lost the ability to engage in critical debate. Well, and in order to explain this, we have to start maybe here with this guy, Sir Karl Popper. He was actually quite instrumental in philosophy in the 20th century. Some people consider him to be actually the most influential philosopher of the 20th century. And in 1945, he published a book called The Open Society and Its Enemies. And he basically survived Nazism. He went to exile. He has seen democracies collapse. And in his book, The Open Society and Its Enemies, he criticizes those people who think they know it better. I know what's best for you. I know the answers to the complicated questions of the world. And he said that these are the people who are the enemies of an open society, because this type of attitude does not allow for critical reflection and critical debate. Sir Karl Popper not only talked about political science and social sciences, but also in the natural sciences is considered to be very influential there as well. And his view of critical rationalism actually says the following. He says, if you want to improve a scientific theory, if you want to improve a society, what you have to do is you have to learn from your mistakes. And in a closed society, strives to be a perfect society by having a perfect leader or perfect political system. And then if you have this view that the system is perfect, well, then essentially you're not willing to engage in a critical debate to improve it. And what Popper said is that a democracy is characterized by a system which is able to replace a bad leadership without bloodbath, without bloodshed. That is something that characterizes democracy according to Popper. And he actually said democracies are definitely not perfect. There are lots of bad policies, bad leaders. Things go wrong sometimes, even if the intentions are good. Sometimes the policies are not turn out not to be so good. But he says, that's all basically not such an issue if you're able to replace bad policies with good policies, bad leaders with better leaders, and we're able to learn from that. And that's an important characteristic of a democracy according to Popper. Now, if Popper were alive today, and he died in 1994, so over 30 years ago, if he were alive today, what would he probably have said about the state of the world today? Well, I think there might have been three aspects. He would have probably criticized dogmaticism, and that's basically the idea that my moral values, my moral standards are correct and yours are wrong, right? That's called dogmaticism. And then you do not reflect critically about your own values and standards that you have. The second thing that he probably would have criticized is, and that's also something he could not have foreseen, are all of those echo chambers, especially in social media. I remember that back in the day when the World Wide Web was announced, we're going to have now a free public debate and people can get different views and there's going to be an exchange of ideas. It did not happen like this in every instance, but sometimes people get sucked down into a rabbit hole, and then essentially you become a member of a certain group. And if you criticize that group, then you are essentially, your criticism is not welcome, but actually is seen as betrayal. Right? And that is another thing that he probably would have criticized is of today's society. And the third thing that he might have criticized is, well, the whole emotionalization of public debate, especially political debate, but not only. People become very emotional and they basically start to switch off their critical thinking mind. And Popper's view, or Popper's philosophy of critical rationalism, actually already addresses that. He says if you have a mind and heart, well, then you should actually be critical and you use your brain and your mind and not get too emotional about things like this. But especially today, in nowadays society, we can see everywhere that people like to have a view because of their emotional affectation. They have emotional view beliefs, and then they try to justify or rationalize them later on. But actually it should be the other way around. Let's have a critical public debate first, and let's try to improve the system, and let's recognize that none of us are always perfect, and that basically even with good intentions mistakes can happen, and let's improve society. This is basically his view. And maybe democracy also requires people who are willing to engage in a critical and rational debate, right? And maybe not everyone is willing to do that. I don't know if he has also foreseen that possibility. Just leave it at that. I would like to hear your comments. There is a big comment section below. All the best. Bye-bye.